Sometimes you want to do original design work. Other times you crave a remix. As in this case, where I blend classic designs from both Joe Johnston and Ralph McQuarrie into something that feels new yet obviously familiar. I'll show you the design journey from one version to the next, what I feel worked, what I feel didn't, and what I learned, and ultimately where I ended up. We will also visit the original source of the inspiration for this particular remix later in the video, so stick around to check that out. Welcome to Tech Nouveau. My name is Rasmus. I'm an art director and concept designer with 20 years of professional AAA games experience, and I'm on a mission to inspire and empower your creativity by discussing creative processes, the craft of concept design, design in general, and sharing my thoughts on the subjects. And today I want to show you how an all-terrain siege sentry came about. Should we do that? We should. Let's go. This particular model is based on the work of Robert Rose, specifically his ATST model as seen here. This is a render done by Angelus and a texture done by E.C. Henry. And I mean, what a wonderful foundation to start a project off with. Obviously, this iconic model is extremely recognizable with its face and its hair, with its red eyes. And you can see how this particular model is set up with a wonderful animation and rigging setup in Maya. Obviously, I'll destroy that immediately as I import it into Blender and mess with it and smash on it my own textures on it. So yeah, so thanks guys for letting me play with your model and ruin it completely, but have some fun in the process. So here we are in Blender once again. And here I've taken the wonderful head and I just chopped it off because I want to do something else. And apologies to the guys for my shabby texture here. It's to get a familiar material on it that I can manage myself without all that texture management. I hate texture management, so no thanks. But of course, in this particular case here, the result is not yet refined and looks kind of terrible. So I hope you bear with me on this one. But of course, we all love this head, this somewhat skull-like helmet, right? It shares a lot of similarities with Star Wars design from the old ILM art department, namely eyes that have this sad sunglasses look, similar to a stormtrooper in many respects, similar to scout trooper helmets and things like that. And this disc here, again, a theme that runs across in much of Star Wars design, again from helmets to spaceships, Slave One to several droid helmets and things like that. It's a clear theme, and of course it doesn't, skull shaped. Yeah, pretty much. These, I mean, I always see sort of laptop cooling systems here, but I guess this was pre-laptop days when this was designed. But maybe there were some other cases where you needed to cool something flat. I don't know. It certainly looks like a laptop CPU cooler to me with the vents and everything like that. Anyway, amazing model here by the guys. Really good stuff. But since I want to do something else with it, that has to go. So here's where we start. This particular face here. And this reminds me of this guy. And I don't know if that's subliminal or what happens. Obviously, there's some jumping spider in there as well, clearly. But I knew I wanted a disc shape, so that's where I started. I started with something that is really, as I mentioned, disc shape. And again, from a theme point of view, if it's a probe droid or a cloud city, again, there's a certain aesthetic that sort of seems to rear its face in terms of Star Wars design. So I was doing some of the same tricks here with a layering and ensuring that there are gaps in the structure to allow for interesting visuals and to allow for the lighting to be caught in an interesting way. The next thing I did was add this backpack type of object here on the back of the disc. I felt, and again, you can see how squashed and stretched this is. Because again, this is design, not refinement. It's about understanding and finding the shapes that appeal to you and that does the job that you want. But I found a backpack for let's say ammunition or power or something to be a good idea. And then we have this axis here across the rear part of the middle that holds the weapons. Right. And I like this idea of it having sort of a big gun to chase you down with. And I also like when it points up, it looks like it's resting. It's like a trooper or a soldier that's waiting for orders. I think that's a cool pose. So the insectoid eyes have this armor on the side. Again, it's just to frame the face, if you will. That's really what it is. And then I have two different types of radar domes, namely this one and this one, these two here. And so I'm flirting a little bit with the sense of asymmetry on this face. It's quite symmetrical, but at the same time, maybe we can do something with that. So, oh, Blender, oh, help me. I like that the radar dish feels like a chin as well. It's probably impractical. It's probably going to hit parts when it comes over here, but regardless, I think it has a face, and I like that. The next idea I get is really something that's inspired by this one. Remember seeing this concept back in the day, back when the ILM department, art department challenge was on ArtStation, and I think Van Gogh did just a fantastic job. The fact that it's a heavy ATST, that's one aspect, sure. The fact that it's manned, it's certainly not something I'm doing right now, but seeing the ATST type legs, even though they're heavier, with a disc shape on top, really just struck a chord with me like a lightning bolt. And I was like, someday I gotta come back to this design and do my own take on it. Oof. So cool. So thanks for that inspiration. So that inspiration sort of led me to this one, which is, again, we see much more probe droid in terms of the layout of the eyes, but at the same time, the whole front of that, the body itself feels much more like a disc-shaped tank or something. It feels much more like an armored vehicle. And so this one has I don't know, it's a more of a battle-ready, battle-hardened type vibe. At the same time, it goes away from the probe droid look. It's a funny mix with eyes from it, yet not really. Another thing that was added is this turret here. Where are all my sensor points? That's something really weird with this scene. Anyway, this turret here, and it's almost like now it's an anti-personnel type of scenario where you as a straggling little guy, you should be scared of this one because it's going to mow you down. Where this one over here maybe feels more like an anti-material thing, weapon. So there's something a little bit more menacing about the little gun in some respects. And at the same time, obviously, it adds to this insectoid mandible type of feel. So that's what I learned from this particular take. I also added a larger radar dome. It's almost like the radar domes we see on top of a phalanx gun or something. I've been obsessed with them since I was a kid. It's just one of those iconic, odd-looking devices that I haven't been able to let go of ever since I was a kid and saw it for the first time. And it pops up every time I do designs like this. I guess we all have our telltale signs. So there's a few things here that I've learned. I like the little gun because it feels more insectoid. It also feels very battle ready. I like that. At the same time, it doesn't have the big gun that would sort of make this armor needed. So it's a little odd maybe. And finally, I land on something where I say to myself, hey, you want to do probe droid, right? So just do probe droid. So here I do a version that is much closer to the classic probe droid, albeit with a few of my touches again. The bigger gun is back, and these radar warts remain. The shape is a little bit more organic and a little bit less armored than this one over here. And it's got this, again, this insectoid snout. Looks like it could visit a cantina and demand a drink or something. Again, the backpack remains the power source or ammo box or whatever. But at the same time, it's much more probe droidy. It's also playing with poses. And again, because it's a Blender model, it's static. And I can't rig and, animate characters to save my life. So this is manually posed. Like this. Terrible. I apologize. But again, what I'm trying to do here is not make a setup that works for all posterity. Posterity. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do here is just play with the design and get a feel for it. You can see this glass orb-like sensation of the eye. That's pretty cool. So this is all good and well. It isn't quite where it ended though. It ended here. So I knew I wanted the insectoid weapon back. I knew I wanted some those little silver creeps that is in your bathroom sometimes that have that little spike at the end. Again, in terms of insectoid designs and whiskers and little hairs to detect, I always like my my automated weapons platforms with whiskers and hair and antenna and things like that. So that's another one of those cases. What would it be used for exactly? I'm not sure, but that's what it is. And then when we play with this face of the probe droid, what's fun about it is it doesn't really have a singular face. It has multiple faces. So even though I argue that this cannon here sort of adds to the flavor of it being mandibles or something, I also want to offset the centralized feeling of where is the face exactly. So it has a face here with eyes that are offset, and it has a face here with a big eye that can look at you and, like, robotic Sauron, it comes for you. And then of course the Star Warsian trademarked white and red diode. So it has two faces, right? It has a face here and it has a face here. Sort of. You can argue that. And I really like that. I think it's really weird and interesting, and I think it makes for a creepy look. It's almost like if you're caught by these guys, you'll get mowed down. If you're caught by this one, you'll get exploded. And so the big gun is back as well, because I wanted it to have the dual the width of wide spectrum combat ability to both handle material but also to handle rebel scum and whatnot. Again, all these radar blisters are retained. It has a little concussion missile ejector maybe, and the backpack has gotten a little bit smaller. And here I'm doing a cylindrical shape, reminiscent of both sort of the round tanks that you see on the back of certain tanks and the little pouch that you see on the stormtroopers as well. So it has this sort of imperial Nazi Germany kind of flavor to me, and I think it fits what we're trying to do here. And then I took the armor plating from the front of the flat pancake design and I added it back here. Now that I look at it again, actually, I think maybe one could almost make long rubber flaps or something. I think I've seen tanks have that to prevent rebels from throwing in Molotovs or countermeasures or light missiles or something. You could almost see it have sort of a Predatorian rubber hairdo. I think that might be interesting to explore. So yeah, there it is. Let's render it. So yeah, that was it. And by the way, check this out. Sandy Greenberg made a super cool Lego version of our boy. And I think he got away really well with all the cool features. And I think he chose the pancake one as well, the one that has a little bit of that original inspiration in it. So super awesome. In other news, if you want to kit bash like I do here, I have the big, medium, small Model Shop Greebles pack available. Links in the description, of course. And it's a pack that allows you to really get in there, get your hands dirty really quickly, and shape and throw things around and have a lot of fun in Blender, Unreal, Cinema 4D. Choose your poison, really. Highly recommend it, not only because I was part of making it, but because I will always highly recommend asset packs that allow you to kit bash and be creative and get your ideas out there real quick. So yeah, that's it for today. See you next time.